I'd like to talk about my favorite subject, love. Something in particular, there's a concern that I've been observing this kind of a trend. From time to time, I do come across social media posts or people putting their own opinion on what they make of it. Um, but in recent time, I come across again and just I thought that I wanted to bring this to people's awareness. It is that when we talk about, like, at times we share various kind of social media posts about love, right? And even some poetry about love. Then it's all talking about intense, romantic kind of love. Well, there's a lot of love in one sentence, but you know what it is, right? You talk about romantic kind of love. Then from there'll be times, and usually I observe men, uh, the odd man will come in and say that it's more than that. It's not just romantic love. It's about universal love. It's about the love with the source, or depend how they word it. But basically what they're implying is that this romantic love is, these are true use of words. I didn't invent that. I didn't try to exaggerate. But they can associate romantic love as a petty or illusion, point of view, or kind of deceptive. Now, if you can't do romance, right, that's your problem. Each of us are capable of many forms of love, even when you're very evolved spiritually. Unless you pursue the path, spiritual path, as a priest, as a monk, as a nun, especially those that, they've gone into the monastery to serve. Unless you're in those positions, you can't talk about romantic love if you are serving in a monastery or in the church, however the formation or the structure is. But as ordinary mortal beings, how spiritually involved, even if you are in the spiritual path, like some divination master or priestess or priest, as long as you operate on your own, you're not being institutionalized. You're able, there's no vow of celibacy, right? Then you can indulge in romantic love. I think a lot of times people get confused. Even though they're spiritual, but they confuse this religious aspect of it. There's lines has been blurred. When we say that we can experience universal love, all of us are capable of, but most of us, let's put it this way, when we're born, we cannot naturally love. We don't know how to. Love is one thing that is our birthright, we're born with it, but then it needs to be activated. That means we learn along the way. First, through our parents, or, if you are through some misfortune, through your guardian or your foster parents or whoever is taking care of you. But as you're growing up, who you mix around with, who taught you, to schools, to people you mix around with, friends, and later on at work, and people that you fall in love with, and even materials that you read or you watch. You learn. You learn how to love. And even though we say learn spiritually, is we awaken, each of it. But you will naturally feel that something is not quite right. But because you go through the conditioning, everybody, let's say, for example, you grow up in a community, whether it's the neighborhood, and the school, and everybody sort of believe in there's a certain common way of approaching relationship. Let's say they're pretty conservative, they don't like this public display of affection, where they just feel that maybe if you wanted to, like olden times, right? Couples, they have to go through matchmaking, right? Certain of these, most of those communities, they have to go through like matchmaking, and then as you progress, certain of these are free up, Right? So let's say if you grow up in that kind of environment, that's only all you know. Even though it may not sit well with you, that you thought, why is it so restrictive? But you grow up with it, you just thought, until when you get exposed to the outside whatever you have learned or you are familiar with, then you thought, yeah, there's something else for me. That's why people come into so-called this awakening, where this awakening, the way of you see life, anything else, including love. But when you come into this understanding, first, everybody, so-called the gateway to love is what? First is family love, like parents, right? And then followed by romance. And romance is, of course, we're just talking about love relationship. But for the sake of separating whether it's universal love, whatever love, I call it romance, okay? Romantic love. A romantic love occupies us most of our life. Kids as young as 7, 6 years old, right, will know about, they may not know the actual meaning or actual process of it, but they all thought about this mention of boyfriend, girlfriends. There's always a yearning, of course, proceed to early teens, approaching to teenage years. It's all kind of, there's excitement to want to look for a person to be attached to as your person. And from then on, it just keep going until you face certain setback. And some people could be maybe quite bad experiences that scare them, but most are still quite excited or positive, motivated to push ahead to find true love, not real love. It's a gateway to love. Family kind of love is only just the foundation. It's not a gateway to the actual higher love. Romantic love, it is the higher love. Because it is then you break all the boundaries of what you learn in your family. Let's say your family has certain way of interaction. That when you're in a love relationship, isn't it? So you just fall head over heels, or you do things that you never think that you would. You just step beyond your comfort zone. You push the extra mile. You go all extent. And of course, after that, you can say, what about mother and children? You have to go through the romantic love first. As a child, you will not experience the depth of unconditional love from a parent to a child, because from a child's perspective, you don't have the capacity to understand that. All you hear is from your parents, whether it's complaining or you watch them, you observe them, how they struggle for you, if it's a struggling testing, or how they loved you. That's all. You are on the receiving end. You don't experience it yourself. But with true romantic love, that's the gateway. And eventually those, whether marriage or not marriage, but most, not everyone, and then they come into having their own children. That requires them to step beyond what they understand from romantic love point of view, and that is unconditional love. And of course, it's not totally unconditional, because no matter what, family like to put certain discipline, certain tradition, certain of this kind of a structure to it. But it is close to. And then it is through there, depending how evolved you are, how conscious you are, how self-aware you are, who you're exposed to, what other kind of environment that, if you serve the community one way or another, you volunteer at the community, or you mix around a lot, or you do social service, those will open up your eyes and your heart more, and you get to experience more. So coming back to what all the social media posts, some of these people like to push for, say that romantic love is, it's small, it's nothing. What the love should be universal love. You are a mortal being here. Unless you serve in the capacity as a priest, priestess, monk, or nun in an institution, monastery, that means you require to every day, that is your job. You wake up, you do your mantra, you do your scripture, you do the whatever duties they assign you to do, that's all you do, then yes, you are not, you have to took the vow of celibacy. So romantic love is considered a form of desire, and that is you should not be thinking about it. But that doesn't mean you should not understand it. But you have never seen a monk, or very rarely they're going to advise you on the desire side. And I mean, the modern day on YouTube one is a different story. But those who going to come from the institution, they will never, right? But if we are here, the rest of us, whether we practice any form of spiritual or religious belief, it is only right, and we are all capable of doing it. So it's with learning, then we undo whatever we doesn't serve us, and we get exposed to, and then we see what is best suit us, the way we learn. But we all have the capacity to do it. It is true, well, various forms of trauma and conditioning that actually will put us in a position of walling us up to receive, to allow. The key to love, you say, how do we love? I answered this question before. It's allowing. A lot of things in our life to first override our subconscious, or to kind of sow the seed. You need a step program to reprogram yourself. But the seed that you sow is first and foremost, you allow. Whatever you want to do differently, or whatever you want to allow yourself to receive, you have to allow. So it's almost like you put the guest list to the door host to the exclusive club. Right? These are my guests. So later on, if they turn up, you let them in. If they don't turn up, yeah, maybe they don't turn up tonight, maybe they turn up next week. It is that you have to allow. So when you allow, that means subconsciously, your whole body, if you must have a strong conviction to allow. They naturally will, it's almost like they hit the guest list, right? I give this layman example. They hit the guest list. Okay, let's say in your guest list, you have an Eric and an Erica, and both of them turn up. So this is out of the norm of usual, because it's your special guest list, VIP list. So the door host will look at it, and they have to take a pause and think, this Eric and Erica, does it belong to, is it Gloria's list, or is it just somebody, they have to verify, is this Eric, Erica from this list, or is it just random people happen to share the same name, right? That moment of pause, that is how the body system will work. When you already have this strong conviction, that seed is sowing, you pause. And of course, the step program will reprogram ourselves. And a lot of times through heartbreak, it's like the Tarot tower moment, that the whole thing crushed, your heart shattered. And each time your heart shattered, you can rebuild it. That means you heal. And when you heal, it's stronger. You're able to experience love more intensely. So for every con, there's a pro. But we are all capable to love universally. That means to love on a collective level. Our love for example, our love for this world. When we watch the BBC David Attenborough Planet Earth program, don't we just feel that we're so in love with this planet Earth? The animals, the organism, we feel that it's just like what you say, a wonderful world. That love is just naturally, because that is our connection to Mother Gaia. But at the same time, when we meet somebody, for that moment, the chemistry or the attraction, and then it progress to, that we show each other affection in ways that, of course, as a couple, whatever gender orientation that you are, as a couple, you naturally want to show affection, even though how conservative you are. I mean, going back olden times, right? That they may not be sharing affection like the way we share. For most people, I'm not saying that there isn't. They still have their little ways of showing their affection or their care. And these are romantic ways. So for those who, whenever they make comments like that, especially on my posts, right? Know that the mirror reflects back on you, right? And is it that because you haven't experienced it before? That I hope You can, at least once in a lifetime, experience it. Because to be in that intoxicated, of course you know you have your boundaries, you recognize your red flag, but there's nothing wrong to lose control to be in love. A lot of these people, they're very controlled because of their whatever past experiences they are, bad experiences, they feel that they have to be in control. They don't like losing their head, so called to say. They don't like the idea that they've been thinking about a girl all day long. Because these are mostly written by men, these comments. And very rarely I'll get girls that make comments that say, oh, it's universal love. It's almost every girl's innate nature to look for a partner, to have a romantic love. We like to be romanced. No matter how bush we are. It's true. It's true. In little ways, the feminine quality to it. Same as I say, whatever the gender orientation, you just wanted to be romanced. And you are capable. As feminine, we are capable, very, very capable to be romantic because we are not afraid to go gaga. Like we're not afraid to sit in, like in the public, right? Sit at the cafe and we look at our men, like all looking like any passerby will know that we're fucking in love. We're just like totally attracted. And we're not afraid to be seen that way. We're not afraid, to kind of be a bit flirty with our person in public. That's the difference. Not many men willing to do that, and not many men like the idea of that. They'll be working all day, and then suddenly they just keep thinking about the girl and they can't. So it is your own fear, because you do not have the experience of a healthy relationship before. So you thought this is wrong. You thought you've been bewitched. You think that there's something wrong with you. It's nothing wrong. It's your natural masculine looking for the feminine to alchemize, to come together. So that's what I want to talk about. We are all capable of loving on all different levels. Universal love, unconditional love, romantic love, love between friends. We are all capable of animals, compassion. It's a matter whether we allow. So don't deny yourself happiness. This is our birthright. To be born as a human being, I mentioned this before, to be born as a human being on planet Earth with consciousness, this is a 3D plane. We're able to experience a pendulum, 180 pendulum swing of technicolor emotions, the highs and lows. So it can get very intoxicating. As long as we be self-aware, that means our behavior is not going to be toxic. There's nothing wrong if you fall deeply in love. It doesn't mean you're going to do all silly things. It's just that there's some people who drink and then they get really, really drunk. But then not every person who are drunk are an asshole, isn't it? They're going to create a scene in public. That's it. Some people, they know that they're very drunk. They just get a cab and go home. But there are some people who create a scene. So for those of them who, you can say that I experience universal love and really nothing wrong with it. If that is your path, you pursue it. But to try to tell other people that you're deceptive, you're delusional, you're petty, the mirror only reflect back on you that you haven't experienced it that before. And I wish you all the best. It's a wonderful thing. It's only here in tactile form, as I mentioned, in physical form, we can experience it. In other realms, it may not be be light beings. And in the physical form, that means you can hug, can hold hands, can kiss, you can make love. It's true, you can make up. I'm not asking you to do casual. Focus, I'm talking about the focus one-on-one. Yeah. It's a wonderful thing. I love talking about love because the experience itself is our birthright. Claim it, own it, allow it, experience it, enjoy it. Thank you for listening. This is Gloria from Allure, signing out.